going to build the Airfix 172 scale Hawker Hurricane Mark 1. So starter set, you get your paints and a brush and some glue. Well, in fact I won't be using that glue, it's rubbish. But to get this camouflage pattern you see here on it, rather than paint it with brush because I like to airbrush, to do it I'm going to use glue tag. That's £1 that for a pack like that. Already used quite a bit. Malleable or whatever they call it, malleable, that's it. Very tacky. Use that to cover the areas so I can airbrush it. You could use this system as well if you wanted to paint it by hand, but I'll show you how you do it, and for a cheap, and it is cheap at £1 for a pack, we'll hopefully get a good result. You can get a dear versions of a similar product, but it costs us like 8 and 10 quid from model shops. So there you go, more of the stuff, nice, fresh, ready to go. So we'll get it out of the box, let's start building it. I always start by cutting my parts off, big parts like this, as far away from the actual way they're connected to the actual sprue, and then I just nip off closer after like that. You've got less chance of them breaking a bit. Just makes it a bit better. And then I always sand them down with my sanding stick just to smooth off any little tiny bits that are stuck out. There's a few of these small parts like this that just fit into this wing section, and that's just to form part for the undercarriage with the wheels, and that'll sit. And this is where the cockpit, where the feet and everything else, the pedals, everything go from the cockpit. It's a little bit strange how you're making it because it's slightly different to some of others, but it's a good design. And I'm going to glue in, this is the seat back. And this is the actual seat itself, just sits into it now. It's pretty simple enough. Well, it is when you get it in the right spot, that is. You can see I'm using the Tamiya-fin. As I said earlier, I'll go into I ain't using that Umbro glue. Don't rate it, to be honest. It does the job that it needs to, and that's it. This is the where the dashboard is, and there's like a frame around it as well. I'm just going to blast down now some cockpit green. And I'm using my Krios, is it PS270? In a second I'll tell you if it is what it is. Yes, my Krios PS270. And it's Mr. Hobby, something like that make them. It's a brilliant airbrush. There's just one decal to go on in here, and that's it. It's just for dashboard, or instrument panel as properly call it. Dab away any excess moisture there. Just make sure it sits nice and flat. I just press them together. They go together lovely, these. It's typical Airfix, more modern style kit. They're fantastic. I just run the extra fin down and just hold it for a few seconds. I just work it around like that. Just keep going around all edges that need a bit of glue. Hold it, work a bit more. It's the easiest way. Put your wings together. You can see the actual steering column there. Gear stick, joystick, whatever. Again, just pinch them up, run that round, and it just seeps into the faint crack, and it does it perfectly, to be honest.
I never have any problems when I'm doing them like that. Sometimes you get, with the wings and the actual fuselage joined, sometimes you'll get big gaps and stuff like that, and you'll have to fill it with a bit of putty. And even just faint airline cracks in it sometimes, just a little bit of putty run down, it'll just make them disappear. Put tail sections on now. Yeah, everything just fits together lovely. Like I've said a million times before with these Airfix kits. I do like them. It's like that. For the amount that they cost, these, especially these starter kits you can pick up at Aldi and Lidl and that, they're all the same as other starter kits, but they're great fun to do. They really are. They've made them really easy, rather than sitting there trying to figure out what part goes where. Really good instructions, making it nice and easy for you so that you're not sat there struggling. And sometimes even experienced models, they're just a joy to build.
Right, I'm ready to primer, and I've just got this. It's Mr. Finishing Surface 1500 black. I've got the grey, I like the grey, but I prefer black for most kits. I couldn't get it last time, they didn't have any in stock, but they've got some now, so I'm going to use this. Stinks like hell though, it is a bad one. You've got to be ventilated well. You might actually hear all bird noise, and that's because all windows are open in room, just to make sure it gets rid of as much of this smell as possible. Right, I'm going to stop it now because I'm going to put my mask and that on so that I can spray without choking myself to death.
When I put primer down, I like to do a thin coat first, so I give it somewhere just to start and adhere to on model. And then I like to then start and put more on and build up the layers so that it starts to fill it in nicely. It's better than putting loads on and then finding out you've got a run mark or something like that, because that does my head in when that happens. So it's primered up. And now I'm going to start putting the undercoat, well not the undercoat, the bottom paint on. They spray on nice and all, they're nice paints. And it is the one that came with kit as well. I just finned it with some Tamiya X20. Seems to be my favourite at the minute for finning these umbral paints. I sometimes put a couple of drops of retarder in because they can dry really quick, but I do like using this. The X20. I've used Umbral's own thinners, and in all honesty I don't think they're that good, but that's just me personally. A lot of people have a lot better experience with them than what I do, but I just find the paints seem to dry a bit too quick sometimes. I've got my tape on the end, the dots, the square dots show where I'm not painting this time. I'm trying to limit how much paint I'm putting down on model actually by doing it like this, so that it ends up with more details showing through. Or I'm hoping it will anyway, that's all I can say. You can see there, and I've got all the main areas done there. You can see how much it's took. Rather than blasting it over every single area, not used half as much paint. I'm using the green, and the green is a really striking, virtually luminous green when it's coming out like this. As I say, it really stands out in your face, but when it dries off it's alright actually. It's not a bad colour, but at the minute it really is. You can see there as it's starting to dry in areas, it's not as bad as what you think. Just take me blue tack off. All of this blue tack here, although it's got this green paint and brown paint and all them on it, you can actually reuse it again. Just squish it around in your fingers a few times, and before you know it, there's only a little bit of green or brown left sticking in it. All it's got to do is stick to where you want it to. Don't matter about what colour it's ended up. Doing a bit of Tamiya gloss. This is so I can put my decals on. You'll see it looks like I'm flooding it, but I'll tell you now, that'll dry and you'll hardly notice. I just nearly stuffed up there with that decal then, didn't I? But yeah, I just put them on like that, and then I use microsol and microset on them. Obviously, put that on first, then put your decal on. That's the microset, and then put a bit of your decal. Wait a while, and then you can actually put a bit of the microsol on, and it helps sink them into them panel lines. That's if it needs it. It also makes them look like they're more painted on. I just get a quick wipe with my microfiber cloth just to make sure it's got any bits or any hairs out at it way. So now and then it does. This is the panel wash or pin wash, whatever you want to call it. I'm just doing it into panel lines, as you can see. It's flooding around them nicely. It's just the black one, the AK MIG, whatever one it is. It's alright, it's an enamel version. Easily cleans off. You just use cotton bud like that. Gets rid of any excess on top. And if you get too much, you can just use a bit of thinners. The enamel thinners, that is. Acrylic thinners won't touch it. And that's another reason why it's got that gloss on it as well. And I have sprayed again over the top of the decals gloss, just to make sure. I've already painted these parts up. The exhaust just fitting in there nice. I thought these were going to be a bit of a problem putting these in. You know where it's going under there a bit. It seems to go in alright actually, it's not bad. Like that, see? I thought, oh, is this going to be a problem? But it don't, it just slotted straight in place. Perfect. Wheels on. Certainly coming close to end now. And don't forget the tail wheel, as they say. And the cockpit, bit of Elmer's glue. The purple one tries completely clear. It's quite a strong one as well, so that's why I quite like it. And that cockpit looks, well, that canopy should I say, looks absolutely beautiful. Propeller. Nice, lovely.
Well, I've kept her with no real weathering on it. I've just done the little bit of pin wash, and the reason for that is I want it so you can see how well that camouflage is done with using the blue tack. You can see it's done an half decent job, in fact better than half decent. I think it's fantastic. Probably a bit more actual indented, well, where it swirls in and dents in a bit, or whatever you want to call it, a bit more patterny, but other than that I think it's pretty good. I really like it. Kit, I'll say about that, absolutely beautiful, brilliant kit. Enjoyed building it. I've made one mistake. I've lost one of the lights there. Don't know where it's gone. I cut it off and then it's just disappeared. So I've had to make one there of my own, and you can see it's a little bit, I couldn't get the scratchy mark, well, because I've had to sand it down to get it to fit in, but it'll do. It's not the worst in the world. I made it out a little bit of off sprue that were left from before, but it's one of them. Like I say though, I did like the kit. I really enjoyed it, and I think that I've shown you here how well the blue tack can make the camouflage on aircraft. Now you can use it as well. I've seen people use it for doing it on tanks and that, where it's doing the lines down, all that are all swirled so that it looks like the tiger kind of camouflage, and they look fantastic when they're done. But as a product, and I know I said £1 on my video and all of that, but the £1.15, but I think you can still get this from pawn shop for £1 and stuff like that. But it's an absolute bargain. It's like I say, there's stuff out there in the modelling world that's been specifically made for modelling, like, and it's not really, in my view, I don't think it's much better than blue tack. Yes, it lasts longer, and yes, it seems to be easier to put on and off, but you're paying, like I say, about £10 for it. Some of it's even dearer than that if you get a big tin. But yeah, I've enjoyed building it, and that's the main thing. And I hope you've enjoyed watching it, and I hope my tips here for blue tack, also for me canopy, how I mask them off, for these little ones especially, because they are really finicky. But you can see how well that's come out, that canopy there. I think it's done well, that. But if you've enjoyed the video and it's helped you out, give us a subscribe. It'd be fantastic if you do. Thumbs up as well, brill, it lets me know what you think. But if you do subscribe, just hit that bell and it'll let you know when my next video goes up so you can watch it. And on that note, thanks a lot for watching everybody. Catch you around later.